Sounds like a plan. Good afternoon, good evening, good day, free enterprise fans, and welcome to Questing for Glory 5 on RPG Limit Break. My name is Possum Morpheus, and I am pleased to be joined in the booth by the one and only Dathis. Dathis, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing so nice. We had to do that intro twice. Once for just us and once for everybody out there to hear us. Hello, everybody, and it is an absolute pleasure to be joined by Possum here on RPGLB to commentate over the lovely run here by Allisele and Cubsrule, doing a bit of a redux of the Adamant Cup flags.
Yeah, Adamant Cup, a tournament near and dear to my heart. Definitely enjoyed the heck out of that one, and I know that our runners, Cubsrule21 and Allisele, are going to enjoy the heck out of this one too. A seed rolled up by community member and admin over on the Free Enterprise side, Niabari. So we're going to see what Niabari has in store for our wonderful runners. And we have Xenocat behind the scenes doing the tracking today, but also giving us a fantastic special musical arrangement that's going to be part of our randomization. And also have to make sure we thank Scala Kitty, the one and only Scala Kitty, for the special. Well, we'll get to the end artistic nature of the wonderful Scala Kitty when we get to the end of the game. So worry about that in quite a bit of time. It'll be a good time though. Dathis, you think our runners are ready to kick this off?
Oh, I know they're ready and raring to go. As am I. I'm especially excited to see the fact that with the a little bit of addition that we have from the Adamant Cup flags, we do 100% have the Cave Magnus check as one of our objectives, and that's always a fun time to see. And again, as you mentioned, Xenocat's custom music, always a big fan of what we can get. I guess I can't call Super Mario RPG music and be right this time.
I mean, you can try. I can always just try Mystic Quest music. One of us is bound to be right or wrong. It's a 50-50. It either happens or it doesn't.
Yeah, and see, that's why it's so great with RNG. Either you get it or you don't. It's always a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, definitely a good time there. Let's take a quick peek at some things here, though. I think we should just go over kind of what we're going to be getting into on these flags and on this run. Not to go too deep into things, but other than that Cave Magnus objective, in particular, I like looking at objective 4 on our list, which is Forge, the Legend Sword of the Adamant, and of course another one of my favorites, the Vanilla Crystal Sword Altar. That one is near and dear to my heart because the last time Cubs was in a marathon, I made sure he had to deal with an alt gauntlet there.
Well, thankfully, you're not the one who made sure that we have another alt gauntlet there. If Neobari has put yet another one there, then I'm gonna send some shenanigans for conspiracy, and I'm gonna honestly believe that that's exactly what happened here. But aside from that, the nice thing is we also have a little bit of a change. Cecil, normally someone you see out in the wild. However, he is restricted along with that Pusoya, and yet we have let Edge go free.
Yeah, I mean, Edge is definitely an interesting character to start out. An early Edge can, no pun intended, really give you an edge over the competition if you find one and they don't in your opponent. So it's one of those situations where if you can find some good early swords, Edge can take care of the overworld for you. Basically, one third, if you will, what we would consider the early, mid, and late game, Edge will take over and single-handedly get you through that early game. So we shall see.
Yeah, and if you find them even some like half decent weapons, long blades, kind of serviceable, he can carry you into the mid and even the late game, really. Ninja swords, as wonderful as they are, not necessary with the stat growth and the agility, so he's going to be hitting like a truck all the way through. Or you could just have him used for the stealing of sirens. Again, such a great character. But speaking of great characters, we're starting off with Sid. The second best start, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, big Sid fan on this end as well. Sid has a ton of HP, a whole lot of strength. easy to back row with bows and arrows, comes with a wooden hammer, so, machines can go ahead and beat them up. Sid's great. Really kind of like a budget Edge in a sense. A little bit slower than Edge. Of course, he's not a ninja, he's an engineer, but he's very calculated. And I think we are getting awful close to being ready to go here. So, yeah, Dathis, if you have any final thoughts on this before we get going, take it away.
Nope, I am excited to get this underway and let these two get a racing and show off some free enterprise goodness.
All right, well, let's go ahead and give our runners a little countdown here. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. And we'll see who joins the Sid on our runner side. We have both Cubs and Allie mashing buttons wildly to try to get through the early menuing here, and
I am super happy for the no seed for old men. This and a magma key start. Wow. This may be probably one of my favorite starts. This is especially with the T Wildish Max Tier 7. This allows one of my favorite places, Watery Pass, to be completely looted all the way through, exit out, and you have no fear of any trap chests. And yeah, just high tier loot all around in that area.
yeah, Watery Pass definitely going to be a high priority, but this also opens up things like an early dive underground. You have, that magma key. You can head right to the Feymarch. You can go and pick up your free key item from Edward, who is laying in the bed in Troya. You can go to Antlion Cave right away and just bop things with a hammer. You could try to find a darkness crystal and maybe some characters to D-Machine. Yes, I said that live on the air. There's a whole lot of things that you can look to do with this particular team. So I'm very excited that Tella is a huge character to get. A Sylph summon, not exactly what we wanted from Edward.
No, but if you decide you don't want to deal with Rydia, that is an early infusion of cash right there, so you can afford some of those Ether 2s for that Sylph Summon. No, we didn't say it more than once here. Sorry, for the Ether 2s for that D-Machine grind. No, we didn't talk about it twice on the air, we promise. But yeah, it's... The real thing is where else are we going to be getting some good loot? The Vampire, I think, here are going to allow you to get through some early-ish fights if they are a pain. And yeah, nothing really, really exciting.
Yeah, I think as far as the loot is concerned, the public treasury, as we call it here in Troya, those chests, there's 9 of them total. They're not the best tiered loot, so oftentimes you're just going there to try to find some money to buy some goods to further your questing with the characters that you do have. Allie taking a little bit more of a measured approach, doing some shopping, some extra looting, while Cubs taking a more aggressive approach, just heading straight up Mount Hobbs to see the next character. And there is the man that we were talking about earlier, Edge, coming in on Mount Hobbs with some D-Lunars. You can immediately just go ahead and use a flame cast here with Edge, and these are not going to be D-Lunars for very long.
Yeah, the really, really nice thing about this is I think Flame is almost on par with power of Fire 2 right now. And he's just, yeah, anything overworld wise, multiple enemies, nothing can kind of stand in his way. The really nice thing, though, is while we have the look here of Cubs giving us that extra character, Ali is doing a little bit more looting, probably looking for some of them life potions I was talking about right there, as well as Silk Whip. Agart, a place that people kind of eschew, but as you look, kind of has goods more often than I'd like to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah, picking up some of those life potions for sure going to be very helpful. 20 life potions, definitely going to get you through pretty much the entire game, having what's going to be a Sid, an Edge, and also a Tella who has the Life 1 spell. And it looks like Allie deciding that she is going to head underground while Cubs is going to continue his overworld tour.
Yeah, and another thing that was seen there's in fact a tiara, so if we have any of our female heroines here, they're going to be very well defended when we go and pick them up. So good loot all around. Kind of what you're really asking for when it comes to starting characters, especially with some of the lower level ones, would allow Rydia to do a little bit harder of nukes. Rosa, again, Porum, more survivability is what you're looking for there. And yeah, it brings up the other two on par with these literal buckets of HP when it comes to Edge and Sid. You're looking at 1400 HP, almost like just over 1500 between the two of them, and you can kind of just swing that at almost any boss right now.
Oh yeah, definitely no concerns for HP on Cubs' side. One thing that is worth noting though, Globe 199, which is a special move from CPU, will still do a number to one of these characters, even that Sid or that Edge. So it's a situation where this CPU is one of the few fights that could still stymie Cubs if he tries to get a little bit cheeky with it. And he is actually has a wall up on his Sid, goes for a reflected vampire. That is a way you can try to push some extra damage. It's also a way that you can get creative and die in this fight. So Cubs, thankfully, gets the 50-50 to go his way and does not perish.
The amount of 50-50s that I've lost while utilizing float strats has been absolutely, wild. And watching people win 50-50 always happens in marathons. And you know what else happens in marathons? Really just we have the entirety of the world completely open to us. Underground, the moon. Yeah, where are you going?
Yeah, it's interesting because normally with a Tella and an early darkness crystal,
Say it.
you immediately think one thing.
Don't say it.
I'm going to Ordeals, I'm getting Tella all his spells, and then I'm going to D-Machine grind. However, there's a couple things that would dissuade our runners from doing that. Also, Ali giving us a job dwarf check here, I believe, and that is a customer service representative. What a thankless endeavor that is. But thank you so much to all of those who are wonderful customer service representatives doing their best to make the world go round. There was a Murasame hanging out in a watery pass, as well as a middle sword. And talking about the things that would dissuade you from doing a D-Machine grind. High-powered Edge, and nobody worth slingshotting. You're not D-Machining an Edge and a Sid. So there's no reason to even consider it at this point.
Yeah, that's very true. And usually, especially with the want of like 5 characters, and this is the interesting thing, we only will ever have 4 people in our party. So when we find our 4th, we'll be able to swap them in and out. That's not the issue. The issue is this Palom likes to be slingshot with the levels that you have here, though. That's a very nice target in our team.
Yeah, you bring up a good point that there's only going to be 4 party members. You can't slingshot with only 4 party members. You would think me, of all people, would remember this, given that I played a whole bunch of Adamant Cup matches. But no, I'm bad. Can play the game, can't remember anything about it. So, yeah, as far as this is concerned, Heroine Robe, by the way, for Ali, and a Wyvern showing up on Cubs' side. Hello, and hopefully goodbye. But yeah, no slingshot. So D-Machine a little less appetizing because of that.
Yeah, that's always the benefit, is doing basically one D-Machine, getting 4 per the each. So you're like, oh, I'm just cutting my grind down in a quarter. Well, then most you'll be able to cut it down in half depending on the amount of key items you get. And if you're doing the amount of D-Machines that you need for even, say, a Rydia at this point, you're not looking forward to anything about that. You're just like, oh, hey, I'm here for about 20 D-Machines, so we're here for a hot second. And this Feymarch has everything that a adamant armor and an Allisele I know personally would enjoy. We have the Pink Tail, which will turn into an adamant armor, as well as Bacchus Wines. And I know she's very much a proponent of buy 99 Bacchus Wines and you're having a party.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage of my life, 6 pocket swines is a party, but yeah, 99, kudos to Allie. I certainly can't pull that off anymore. But Allie sees a sparkle and sees, I believe that was a Beigen hanging out in the Fame Arch and says, I will come back, maybe never. Those are two nasty bosses.
Yeah, you are definitely not a fan of that. I would peek the sparkle so that you know what you're going to be dealing with later. We already know that we have D-Lunars off the chest. We also have Wyvern out of there, so that could be, honestly, that could be something easy with the aspect of, say, maybe even a Plague. You just get a Star Veil up, and you have yourself a free A, kill, B, high tier key item, and C, nice infusion of experience.
Yeah, Plague would definitely be to me, the only doable one right now. And even that's in air quotes because you'd have to get the agility right, multiple slows to cast, have it count itself out, and a whole bunch of other shenanigans. You wouldn't really want to beat it to death with swords and hammers. It would take roughly forever, and we're speed running after all. And that is not good for speed. So I think that it's unlikely, unless you know some really arcane tech for Plague, that you would be taking that fight on, even if it were to be the eyeball of doom hanging out at the Leviathan spot there. So I think it's fine for Allie to fade that for now. I don't think it's probably gonna bite her at all to have faded that. But definitely with you there. I would have liked to see a peek there, partially because it's good for the crowd. We all get to see it that way.
Oh, absolutely. And again, there's nothing wrong with gaining knowledge in any way, shape, or form. If you know what's there, well, hey, you know that you can only find Ogopogo and Pale Dim in two other locations. So we know what we can find elsewhere. And again, knowledge is a big proponent to what you have to deal with out in the wild. Because again, for example, we don't know we know up here, and Cubs knows that we have a wyvern hanging around somewhere. But if we don't have Allie go do that wyvern, but finds a sparkle somewhere else, and say, oh, well, this is out of nowhere, I should have saved, and it's a jump scare. Nope, it's actually just going to be Ogopogo or Pale Dim. The information makes things a lot less scary, and you're not thinking, oh, what have I got in the back of my mind that I'm worried about? Well, that's one less boss we're worried about.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Ogopogo is quite a jump scare still. Because it's like, oh, I see it, and I jump for the reset button because nobody has time for that boss. But looks like Cubs has found himself some sorcerer robes, found himself a strength ring, and also found a full moon for Edge. Full moon being a particularly relevant weapon here because it is going to give him access to what's called the back row glitch. Finely programmed game, all features, no bugs. If you equip a weapon with the back row technology, if you will, on your individual who is going to receive the benefit of the back row, it's supposed to, in theory, only work in battle. However, what happens is it sets the back row bit when you put it on and never takes it off. So now you are permanently able to do full damage from the back row, reap the benefits of all the defense, and not suffer any of the offensive consequences. So a fantastic little thing that we love to use in the free enterprise community.
Well, actually, there are some ones. I think there's only one back row glitched item that does allow a little bit of an issue, and I'm this is just me speaking anecdotally, trying to remember. I think the Dwarf Axe actually, when equipped to those who can utilize it, Sid, Edge, and Kane, negates their critical hit rate. I think it's something to do with the Dwarf Axe proper. I don't remember seeing crits happening afterwards, but again, I could be very much wrong.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, but that's also because, admittedly, I don't do a whole lot of the technical digging on this stuff. I normally find random weird things that happen and then forward them to people who actually know what's going on. So I can't tell you left, right, or center on that one.
Absolutely. And speaking of left, right, or center, we actually look like we are going to get it looks like we're getting an hourglass from Cubs to see what kind of shenanigans we can get from this trap chest. This is very, very bold, and I'm very much here for this. Great experience. Going to give Palom a lot of experience and a lot of levels. But, yeah, you got everybody's swoon, so Edge can just swing wildly.
Yeah, this is going to take a hot second, though. These warriors have, I want to say it's about 2,100 health, maybe a little bit more, but That's going to be 4 hits apiece with this edge right now. This is a big time investment. Cubs needs this to pay off with something relevant to the team. Otherwise, this is going to be a bit of a feels bad, even getting that XP. Because if I'm not mistaken, both our runners found a siren. I know at least Allie found a siren, but I think maybe both runners did.
Allie definitely found one in the Feymarch in the underground looting area. I'm not sure if Cubs did there as well, but yeah, that is, I think, it is one siren that can get Hallam all the way up to Quake and have him online. That's correct.
I think yeah, it gets him right there. It might be just shy with Toad, but either way, he's in the ballpark, and that would just be a very efficient usage of a siren there to get him online. And I'm also interested to see, given the gating characters, Cubs did not go to the moon to look at the character at the lunar dais. I'm very curious to see if Ali does, because if that's, let's say, a Fusoya, that's even more impetus not to D-Machine grind. And you just use Fusoya, you use Edge. Maybe if it's a Cecil as well, you go find a Holy Sword. But there's a whole lot of reasons that this seed is giving us not to do a D-Machine grind, which is kind of a pleasant thing. But we see Dathis, looks like Cubs did get through that trap chest, gets Virus on Palom, and gets a Ninja Star
Oh,
for
totally
his
100%
troubles.
worth it. The
Uh,
nice thing is, as we were mentioning, was the fact that now what he can do is he can leave, crack that siren, and honestly, I think even throw that ninja star, and that would, I think, one shot the dragon. So you kind of have that there too. So we have right to Quake. So I mean, it's a nice little twofer in an aspect, maybe.
yeah, no, that's true. The Ninja Star will deal, I want to say it's like 1900 to 2000 damage at base level, whereas like a Shuriken does like 1100. So definitely will be able to get through that. Um, that Siren Egg, if he so chooses to go that route, he'd get Quake off of it. So that would definitely work. Meanwhile, we see Ali fighting this Asura here. Looks like she was attempting lifelock strats and they went a little bit awry. This Asura going a little faster than she wanted. So going to revert to some Starveil strats. These are where you reflect the Starveil onto Asura. Her spells are then going to reflect back to you, and that way she will not heal herself. She will only heal you, and the fight will effectively be free then. So a good little adaptation in battle here from Ali.
Yeah, and again, that's what's one of the things about our runners that we have here is they know it's like, hey, this strategy is not working, so we're going to do it like this, and it works out from there. Speaking of working out, Cubs decided he wanted to work out, selling just enough so he could afford 20 of those sirens, of those Bacchus wines. So he's gonna let Edge do a whole heap and amount of swinging some swords real shortly.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see. Cubs did save there, so he's probably going to peek the sparkle here. Might be thinking, I can be cheeky, maybe get through something here. But yeah, that is a plague. That is actually a doable fight right now. If you know exactly how to do it, and it is very difficult to pull it off. Um, but I think with the way he's setting up, he's going to look to go ahead and do one of two things. He's either going to try to have Plague count itself out, or he's going to put the full moon on Edge, Zerk Edge, and just have him go to town and just kill the Plague with damage. We'll see which route he ends up going, but Ali, meanwhile, picked up a black belt from a random chest and a Stardust Rod from defending Fabul. So Palom's going to appreciate that Stardust Rod.
Yeah, the bonus stats that you get for these characters, the will and the strength from those two items, definitely going to be making very short work of a lot of these earlier fights. The nice thing would be to find a Porum here to pair with this Palom, so you could definitely take care of anything overworld related. But yeah, we definitely see that we've got the Bacchus going out, we've got the Silk Web going. Yeah, I honestly foresee that this is just going to be Edge going. Yeah, look at that damage. 2,500 from only a couple level extra. The benefit of having that air element on that thrown weapon.
Yeah, that air element is definitely doing work there. It looks like Cubs is also going to bring back this Palom to make sure that everybody is standing and the count refreshes. But meanwhile, did you happen to see what Sheila had? It's Allie's favorite place for this key item. Do you know what it is, Dathis?
I actually did not quite see what
Ah,
good
the
did Sheila's have.
vanilla pan. Allie
I
hates
love it.
the vanilla pan. I love it.
Oh yeah, because that means you're guaranteed you have to go down there at least twice to go down and get the
Yep.
pan, because you have to go down, get it, and then you come back up and you're defending football. I know a lot of runners love the single dip football if you can, but the double to triple dip football, those are the ones that are the feels bad. But you know what? Nothing wrong with it. Sometimes it's a really good choice. Like that pan could have literally the keys to the rest of the seed. It could even have the hook so we have that adamant armor.
Yeah, if it has the hook, that's an early adamant armor, and that would be yet another reason to not want to demachine. So, all of those things would still be lining up, and Cubs needs to get this plague killed in a hurry, and does just in the nick of time. Zeros across the board on the team, but gets the kill on plague. Early plague is down, Leviathan spot complete, and that is an Earth Crystal, the party rock.
See, and that's what we're here for. We're here for this level of cheekiness, because that is a required item. That is a whole bunch of loot, and it allows us to play everybody's favorite game, where we get to rate some treasure. Speaking of rating, how about you rate the shop here if you had Iridia? You got Leviathans, you got exits, bunch of goodies.
With a Palom already, Rydia is not as appetizing, but I would also find it very interesting if a Rydia showed up with a Tela available, a Palom available. That would give you two black mages that could get to nuke very early. I love my mages. They make seeds go burr via a microwave as opposed to a sword. That would lead me back into wanting to demachine if two black mages showed up.
Yeah, you want to get them the XP as quickly as possible so they can kind of take these seeds and just send them on their way. I I don't know. I love mages. They're great. But I don't know if there are some people who may have seen me be a fan, and I love this Cecil on the dais, by the way. Yeah, this is the type of the group that I'm talking about. You give me Tella, you give me three people that know how to hit with stick, and I'm all here for letting Drain Venger Cecil do work on Z, because I don't have to touch my controller.
Yeah, I think the thing that we're going to be looking for though is we're going to see Allie probably go to Ordeals, and then probably go to Eblin, maybe with a stop to turn in the pan along the way. But I think Allie is going to be very focused on finding a stick for a certain paladin that is about to be in her party.
Oh yeah, your definite order of operations would probably be Ordeals to Sheila to see if she's got some goods, and then my beelining right to to Eblin Castle, because that's 3 trap chests, that's 3 shots at a crystal sword. You give me my crystal or Excalibur, let's make Cecil do some good burring here, because again, Murasame Edge with a full moon, if you want to go buy it, plus you have any sort of holy sword for this crystal. For the Cecil, especially if we forge it. Oh, and heck, even a mute knife right there to get you through a lot of these fights. You really can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, Mute Knife is probably Edge's second best weapon behind a Masamune, not including the Game Boy Advanced, super weapons. That Mute Knife, when paired with any other of Edge's weapons, will still get bonus damage to mages, 4 times damage, because it is a racial weakness to mages, or racial strength. and it is just going to overpower things like the Magus Sisters, which could be very scary. Asura, which we've already seen, the second phase of the Elements fight. So a lot of fights can just be trivialized by having that Mute Knife. Meanwhile, we have Dark Knight Cecil deciding he didn't want to play in the cloister of changing, if you will, and decided to come out and have a chat with the party in the sunlight, and quickly decide to head away after giving us a speech about justice.
Someday we'll see what he's talking about, but as for right now, we're going to watch him run away. We're going to get a little bit more experience. This poor Darknet Cecil, not really beneficial for him to have it, but the real question... Oh, no. You want that Dark Knight to become a paladin, you want those spells on your Tela, you are going to have to deal with a back attack gauntlet. Now, Boston, do you want me to tell the people why this is good fun, or do you want to tell the people?
This is all you, Dathis. I'm just going to laugh at Allie's misery because I know that what she's thinking and saying right now is inappropriate for the stream. And we also have Cubs found his curse ring in the treasury, a power shirt, a defense sword, and all of the other things you could ever want for Kane. But yeah, go ahead and explain this gauntlet, Dathis. This is all you, my friend.
So, the alt gauntlet, as we mentioned, it is not the regular gauntlet of 6 fights that you get of officer soldiers, the groups of enemies, and the hooligans, and sometimes they're called in different translations. No. What we do is we take 5 fights, so you get 1 less fight. However, they're from the encounter table of the surrounding area, which, can be much better, as we see the good about the experience. And we'll also, in fact, even watch later on a Lamia in here, so great XP if we had a paladin. Now, the other fact is also the fact that you have the back attack. So all of your enemies will go first before you get a shot in. And one of the fights here is, in fact, the dance party of all of these ghouls. This 4-1 here, not that bad. When you have an army of about 8 of them ready to go, then you have to sit there and you're just waiting, going, why?
Yeah, that about covers it. Mylon's zombie dance party kind of shifted over 1 spot. There's your 7-pack.
There it is.
3 zombies, 2 ghouls, 2 revenants. Basically, the TLDR on this is it's too many zombies. They're all weak to flame. And without Edge, we would be getting a whole lot of Michael Jackson's Thriller playing in the background, whether we'd want it or not.
Would you say that whether we wanted it or not, we stepped into a war with the zombies here on Mount Ordeals?
I would say so, and I would also say I wish we had a chainsaw for an arm right now.
Maybe.
And there's that Lamia you were talking about.
Yeah, this is the one that is always a great infusion of EXP for your mages. Like, if we had, say, Palom on this side, this would get him a lot of experience. Unfortunately, we're finding nothing but money here in these trap chests, and honestly, kind of chef's kiss, really. There's some crystal right there.
That's what, 2 trap chests, a ninja star, and a crystal armor. That is a grand total of 2 tier 5 items, if I'm not mistaken, popping out of trap chests on T Wildish. And that is not ideal. Allie rushing in, doesn't care, says I'm moving forward. Gauntlet, doesn't matter, no save. Somewhere Scala is giving us a save emote. But until that shows up, never punished, right? And hey, there's a pass.
Now the question is like, what are you really afraid of here in the Crystal Altar? Well, speaking of, we have the North American Nope Noodle in Ogopogo here in the 9,000 HP section of castles of the Tower of Zod. So this is not ideal, but not going to be that big of an issue. And on the left side here, we have the other dragon that likes to blarg. It is he who blargs slowest and blargs the worst.
Yeah, Bahamut, great at teaching small children how to count to 5, or to 0 from 5, or something about counting. Really bad at defending whatever it is was here for a key item. So you tried,
Yeah, just a
Bahamut.
pass.
Yeah, just a pass. It's okay. Um, you again, the back attack gauntlet was the price of admission there, and it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a great price to pay for both the runners because they get again some experience and they know that that gauntlet's not going to be anywhere scarier. And it's also a great price for us, the viewers, to pay because you get to know that deep down inside, Allisele is, as you mentioned, talking and asking Neobari how they're doing in completely different words because that's exactly what we're saying on this broadcast today.
Yes, utilizing the chainsaw of compassion, as Ali is so well known for.
Hey, you heard about one edge. How do you feel about second edge?
It's kind of a double-edged sword taking two of them because you're very fast, but edges are expensive to outfit. You probably don't take a second edge because how do you afford it? Like, Edge is an incredibly expensive character, and let's be real, that Rosa, vanilla by the way, that is a
Absolutely.
far superior character to a second Edge at this point.
Yeah, no, but now we have a bit of an issue. We got these characters here. We again have four characters. You get rid of yeah, this is exactly what I thought. You get rid of that said, you have Rosa here, and who even comes with mute arrows. Can the crossbow is a little bit questionable, but what you're really looking for here is just ways to make this Rosa kind of shine for damage because you don't need her to heal just yet. You're going to be doing what Ali's doing and dipping in for some of these trap chests to see what kind of goodies we can find. Speaking of, trap chest number 1.
Yeah, so it's worth noting Ali has 3 hourglasses. There are 3 trap chests here in Eblin Castle. This we have affectionately come to know as Holy Sword Central, Eblin Castle, yielding somewhere in the neighborhood of 38% Holy Swords per chest, which is to say a lot. And outside of the moon, basically the best you're going to find. So Ali making a play here to say, I would like a paladin, and I would like a paladin to hit things really hard. While Cubs is saying, the moon doesn't exist, there's no character up there, I can't possibly ever be punished by this, let me go do everything else. That's why we see Cubs doing the Tower of Zod. Gets 2 enemies that both use Wave, one in Ogopogo and the other in Kainatsu. And Cubs is going to be through this check for the Earth Crystal. Got his treasury, got his Rosa, and we'll see if he gets a good reward from doing this. Meanwhile, Ali going to show us the first trap chest. Well, it's not a holy sword, but it's about the next best darn thing.
I was going to say, it might not be a holy sword, but I mean, yes, this baby can fit so much defense in it.
Yeah. Adamant armors, it is the Adamant Cup, of course, so Adamant armor kind of makes sense. And speaking of Adamant armors, Cubs picked up a hook from the Tower of Zot, so that is going to be the Adamant Equalizer for our runners. So Allisele picked one up from Eblin Castle, Cubs about to pick one up via Damsian Castle and the Adamant Grotto.
Now, so here's the real question, Possum. Let's take all the characters that we know that we have in a vacuum. We have Edge, we have Cecil, we have Palom, we have Rosa, and we have Sid, and we have Tella. Let's say that those are the only characters we're going to see in this scene, which in all honesty, with what's here,
okay.
I'd even go double Edge here, because why not? You have 2 Adamant armors right now. Of those characters, which of the 2 would you give those Adamants to?
So it's actually interesting. On Ali's side, there is a serious debate to be made for Tella to get an Adamant armor. And the reason is Tella has access to all of your black magic and all of your white magic right now. Tella is actually the most important character on Ali's team. On Cubs' team, it's probably Edge at the moment because Cubs has Murasame mute, put the Adamant on him, give him Bacchus, and just kind of let him roll. So I think until Ali finds a Holy Sword for Cecil, I think Tella is actually the most important party member on Ali's side. So it's very interesting how it goes for both runners. And there's a white shirt as well on Allie's side, so lots of nice body armor in Eblin Castle today. But we're kind of looking for holy swords.
Hey, look, the body armor continues. Arguably Edge's best body armor to have, if you're not going to throw that adamant armor on him. But yeah, like was also commented and reminded from John Burkhead in chat, we do also have access to the power shirt vis-a-vis the ability from the Troya Treasury. So it's with that extra power, do you really need to give the extra oomph behind the rest of it to Edge? Or can you kind of just leave him with a power shirt and say, you're speedy enough, my friend?
I think I would really want to just lean into it and just let Edge really, really hit things and be well protected. Power Shirt offers a little bit of physical defense, but no magic defense. Adamant Armor offers a whole lot of everything. Basically, you're able to do whatever you want with whoever you want with an Adamant Armor. Cubs right now could literally take Adamant Armor Edge, have Bacchus Wines, put him in the back row, and just clear the moon. That's how strong the Adamant Armor is. That's what Cubs would have access to right now, is literally blowing everything up. And there is
there we go.
Now we have Crystal Sword, Adam and Cecil, and for Allie, the Berlympics begin right now, and Paladin Cecil's going to win gold in every event.
And the event, it's time to. Cecil's here for two things. He's here to chew gum and slice up monsters, and monster killing's good. Hey, look, a Foo!
Yeah, Foo is interesting. Very good. On Cubs' side, probably gets the Adamant Armor. You get a 35 agility Foo that way. I think he has a Stardust Rod as well. So that would be a Fusoya that can probably even hit an off-slot stone. Not for me, but for everyone else.
Yeah, and it's... I mean, off-slot stones, not, wild. Now, have you ever done an entire D-machine grind with an off-center week and never been punished for it?
No, I get punished for everything if RNG is involved, so one day I'll be as cool as you, Daphis. Today ain't that day.
Fortune favors the bold. Yeah, as we see, both Allie and Cubs are doing a little bit of backtracking along each other, but we are getting a new check from Cubs. He is going to be checking out this Dwarf Castle. We're still missing a lot of our gating key items here. We're still missing the heart being the biggest one, as well as both sides of Forge. So there's a lot of places we can send these characters, and it seems like the main idea is we're just going to full send it down here in the underground.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of the next logical check to do. Also, I just got a shout out on Allie's side. That was a Cecil with not a whole lot of levels who just swung once for 3,500 damage unzerked. It is obscene. I love it.
Yeah, that's not even right. My favorite is still the fact of getting a level 1 Crystal Sword Cecil to find a Mylon Z and just watch him quad 9. You're just looking and go, that ain't right. That is the power of that weapon, by the way, where you take an enemy that is quad, what is it, 8 times weakness? Or is it only quad? I can never remember when it comes to Mylon Z with racial and elemental weakness.
I think it's a 4 and a 2, so I think it's 8, yeah. Because it's 4 for the undead and 2 for the holy, if I remember right.
Yeah, so 8 times weakness. You got a Cecil swinging for quad knight. Like it's entertaining when you watch little Babby Cecil's I'm fresh out of the crystal room, bop, and even like in high powered ish areas too. Like I don't think I've seen it happen in CPU areas, but still, like you just watch a Cecil just smack things around. He's like the items in this game are so strong when you get to like wield them in power like this. You just go, no, I don't care about the rest of the seed now. But the nice thing is both teams actually have a fairly decent level of power back and forth.
Yeah, very divergent paths too, which is cool to see. Allie staying, I would say, much more close to the vest on playing the seeds. looking for the characters as they show up, doing checks in kind of more of a methodical order, shopping a little bit more, and being rewarded now with this Holy Sword Cecil that is going to do work. Whereas Cubs has gone a little bit off the beaten path, if you will, but still having great success. Taking that plague fight down in the Feymarch, ultimately leading to the Earth Crystal, which has the hook, which had the Fusoya. So very divergent paths, but both ending up in very, very strong parties.
Indeed, and if you didn't really notice, we had a bit of a Spider-Man, hey, it's you, no, he's the imposter kind of thing going on with Yang on both sides of Fu. There's two of them, which one's the real one? And we yeeted out both of them anyways, so it's like, it's easy way to deal with it. Kick him out of the castle and let him sort it out somewhere else.
Yeah, unfortunately for Yang, outside of having a party basically devoid of other berserkers and a ton of levels readily available to you, Yang is not really going to shine in many a flag set. He's kind of a mage in how he gains stats, and early on, he's just very weak compared to what this Edge would do. Later on, whole nother story, and endgame Yang is a real force. We pick up the Adamant Rock on Cubs' side. Ali just picked up the Legend Sword from the Panbonk, so that is going to be both halves of Forge pretty readily available for our runners. Does make it, I believe, a little bit less enticing for Ali, because having an X-Gal show up means a Crystal Sword is not as good, but it's still pretty darn good.
Alternatively, may introduce you into Edge throwing that for a heaping amount of damage instead of just Cecil swinging it and doing, about 1,000 less per hit on some average hits. Look,
oh, for sure.
Edge will make good use out of it. Or, in fact, you can sell it for some sirens. Take your pick.
I mean, an X-Gal, a spoon, both of those are things that could be lodged very nicely into a Baigen at the Queen spot, let's say.
In fact, we will yeet and delete this Baigen here with that, and I'm very much a fan of this, but it looks like Cubs is going to take a quick rest and going to be fighting that Baigen without yeeting some swords. He did pick up Drain Spears, though, if you didn't notice, so he's got about 5 Drain Spears that he can throw at that Baigen body.
Yeah, with Blink, with potentially Quake from multiple sources, it's not going to be too difficult to fight for Cubs. The only way things can get out of hand really is an off-placed vampire. Because the magic stat is so high at the Asura spot and the agility is so high, Baigen will be moving rapidly, and there's 3 moving parts. There's the body and then the 2 arms. And so while the adamant armor will do great work to protect whoever it's on, which I believe is Edge on Cubs' side, everybody else is going to be very much in danger. There we go. Goodbye Fusoya in 1 hit.
Yeah, and Palom is going to be taking out these arms and making this a little bit more manageable, that even if we do have the revival of the arms, Edge should swing and slice through them no problem. But yeah, we have the Quakes going off like mad, and it is... Yeah, even then, Edge, I think, is going to outspeed them and not have a problem. And yeah, almost took them all in 1 hit.
Yeah, there is one potential point of concern, is that if Palom goes down via a punch of some sort, the arms, if left alone, will explode. Adamant armor will not protect against explode. So that is the one potential concern here, is let's say Palom gets bopped right now, Edge hits the body and the arms are left alone. It didn't happen, thankfully, but that would have been a potential concern, is that you'd end up in a situation where Edge could still actually die here, even with the adamant armor on. Thankfully, Cub's not going to have to run into that. I think Baigen's probably dead on the next swing from Edge here. And Ali going to pick up that adamant rock, and we'll see if we get a forge out of Ali. I know that is an objective, but we'll see if we get it right away, or if she decides to fade it for a little bit.
And even additionally, even with the the explosion damage. It's yeah, the pure HP just being slung there, and the fact that we're getting a rat tail too with that hook that comes from later on. Yeah, that means that the underground is, or sorry, the king queen spot is both tails, the hook, and an earth crystal. It is loaded with key items and items. It's a good time, like all around here. Now, I think what we're really hoping to see here with these paired adamants, maybe some Zeus gauntlets to be sold.
I don't hate the crystal rings though. Crystal
No?
ring is probably my favorite item outside of like an adamant armor. Great defense for both magic and physical. 5 agility, protection from dragons. It's so good.
Yeah, it does everything you really need. If you find an alt gauntlet in some cheeky spots, it can really bail you out of a jam. But you're really looking at, like, I think, yeah, the crystal rings. The apples can be a fun little addition if you had low HP characters. But since we don't have them, they're not really something you're looking for. But Cubs also does the pan bonk, gets himself that adamant, and is going to be like, you know what? Or the adamant from the legend. So it's, all right, time to go.
Yeah, definitely time to go with those crystal rings. I think that might also give Allie the chutzpah, if you will, to take on the Fey March now. So I think with that Crystal Sword Adamant Cecil, crystal rings on everybody else, I think she's going to feel confident enough and comfortable enough to go through and take out this Fey March, and will be justly rewarded with the Earth Crystal and ultimately the Rat Tail via the hook, the Pink Tail to turn in, get a second Adamant armor. That whole chain that's going to happen.
Yeah, the only unfortunate part I'm going to say about Allie doing the routing that she has is that with getting that Cecil and getting that Crystal Sword as early as she has, she's missed out on the Watery Pass loot, which is where we get to have the Edge powered up. So instead of having a pair of powered up Berserkers, she has one half strong and one, like, it's one really strong character. But that being said, no decision is ever a bad one. It's always interesting to see how they can affect them. It's like, what is... It's that whole why I'm a loot goblin myself. I will go and I'd still loot the Watery Pass because you never know what you could have there. You could have the Zeus Gauntlet. You can even have another Adamant armor. I mean, I know it can't with the max tier 7s, but still, it's... I have that level of there could be something here. And sometimes it's punishing where you don't get anything out of the loot, and sometimes it's like we saw in Cub's side, where he gets rewarded with a Mirasame to be paired with his Edge.
Yeah, and, you know, there's no wrong way to approach it. In T Wireless, generally you will find good loot anywhere, so usually not a concern. Speaking of good loot, we're about to see a lot of good loot go into this demist, because Cubs is not going to want to deal with this, and probably doesn't want to see a single mist phase, but I don't know that he's going to be able to get through this without seeing a mist phase. I think there's just too much health and not enough darts.
Yeah, the amount of HP here, what, roughly 18,000 from the 3 different phases, all put into one single spot. Yeah, it is not exactly what you really want to see in a mod, and I mean that is such as the demist, because it is going to be even slowly, even without being slowed, it is a slower spot with this Fu here in the middle. So you got a Palom that's just going to be quaking, an Edge who's going to be swinging whenever he can, and a Rosa who's just unable to put out enough damage to be really worth it without, say, an Artemis bow or something along those lines.
Yeah, it won't be too bad though. You're going to be a 2-cycle here on demist on Cubs' side, so still plenty fine. Meanwhile, Allie getting over 4,000 damage swing out of this Cecil. This plague is not going to be long for this world. And speaking of things not long for this world, demist has been dispatched on Cubs' side, and he is going to be rewarded with a Twin Harp, which, while required, I do believe we should fade it anyway.
You see, that's not the way we do things here in the Free Enterprise community. We're here for all the memes, we're here for showing off all the fun, and that's why we also had specific flags installed so that after seeds, even if you don't check Twin Harp, you can find out what the music of the seed was. So one way or the other, you know what kind of music you either missed or get to listen to later. But speaking of later, see you later. Poor little eyeball, he is gone. Allie's through that. Earth Crystal going to be acquired, and we're going to see if there's going to be a Baigan fought right after.
Yeah, I think on Ali's side, I expect a save to be coming here and then a fight to be happening. I don't think we're going to get a swag just because things can happen. It's unlikely that it goes awry, but just in case. On Cubs' side, meanwhile, took the aggressive play of let me do Keyless Tower, orphaning the idea of playing for raw efficiency, which it would typically be not to do the Keyless Tower play, especially with the moon available, but is paid off big time because, again, that is a required harp. And we'll see how long Cubs fades that harp, but I can't imagine it's going to be very long. I think that harp is going to be completed pretty much right after this forge is completed. Maybe we'll get a detour to have the pan turn-ins, but that harp is going to be on the radar very quickly for Cubs, and we're going to get some custom Xenocat music.
Yeah, Xenocat doing wonderful work with some great tunes, both within video game and outside of video games. And it's, yeah, excited to see what we have specifically debuted for this marathon here, Questing for Glory 5, which again, big shout out to RPGLB for letting us show off for Enterprise and letting us be a part of the wonderful work they're doing.
Yeah, thank you as always to the folks behind the scenes at RPG Limit Break. Putting on a great marathon so far in Questing for Glory. Definitely been watching a lot of the runs myself over the past few days, and very happy for a lot of the runners who have been getting PBs or near PBs, putting up some very impressive time so far on their runs. So great job to all those involved so far. Definitely been a blast to watch.
Speaking of a blast, it doesn't look like we're going to get one from these Baigan arms, because again, just as well as Cubs is dealing with it, we do have quakes going off, and we have ways of taking care of these arms. It's nothing really to be dealt with. A poor Palom being knocked down. The Rat Tail only being a package, not a key item you're really happy to see right now, because that's not going to lead us to, say, a cheeky D-Mist anywhere or anything along those lines. Literally just a character, and at this point, the best you could have would be a secondary Cecil. Hey, Crystal Sword on one, Excal on another.
Yeah, that, I suppose, would be a decent pairing. I don't think you'd see much complaints from our runners if two Cecils showed up and two Holy Swords were there. But we are going to get the Cubs having shown us, that package. I don't think we're going to see him even bother to check it. Interestingly,
Vanilla
opts out of the spoon. A little surprised at that. That's a dart that represents 10,000 damage from Edge. I would have been one to keep that, and Cubs is heading back to Fabul. I wonder if he is going to decide to keep that spoon.
I would like to see him keep the spoon. Again, you have, like, as you said, 10,000 damage there. If we find an Eddie somewhere, you can be like, hey, we have aspects here. And people in chat, no, I didn't roll the seed. I can't roll the seed and commentate over it. That's not fair. I just get to watch all the vanilla be delivered to me just like this. In fact, one might even be said, this seed being rolled and me commentating, it's being spoon-fed to us right now.
Nice. We do see Cubs heading over, going to take care of this Twin Harp, which, begrudgingly, I must say, I think is the correct play here. Even in the Adamant Cup, given the high completion percentage of it, I was not one to fade this harp check. Much to my own chagrin, I think it is a very good check on these flags. You have to find so many different key items to complete the seeds, and even though this is a very long check for only one key item, in this case it is also required. There is absolutely no reason not to do it. And, of course, uh, there's the special song we've been alluding to. So there's a whole lot of reasons for Cubs to do this. The only reason not to is for memes. And as much as we love memes, we like going fast more.
There are certain memes that we just look at and go, that is one we talk about, but it's not one we actually actively follow here in this community, in this household of free enterprise. But yeah, we just hope that the audio gets swapped over so that we can in fact listen to Cubs' audio for the music. Again, we know Ali's going to be going there eventually, but to be able to hear the rendition now is what we're really all about, because again, all sorts of goodies when it comes to this, and we're going to have Dark Elf attacking us as we get ready to listen to the wonderful DJ Spoonie V show off what Xenocat has created. As I said, brand new audio for this marathon, and I am very excited to see what we've got in store.
Yeah, definitely. Hope we get the audio swapped over. If not, it's very understandable though, given all of the audio issues that we had previously. So if the tech is going to break from this, don't swap it. We'll get it later. But if it can be swapped, we would love it.
Yeah, sometimes dealing with audio is a fickle thing, and it can cause issues. So we kind of just and it can cause problems later on, so it's just not worth dealing with. So yeah, it doesn't sound like we're gonna get it from Cub's side, but maybe he'll get the. While I personally have no idea what the audio is, that is wonderful music that we got to hear. Again, thank you very much to our tech team. I know we were having a little bit of issues with it earlier. No, just the objective that we get from there, a glass hat and some wonderful tunes. Let's see if we hear it. A step away from Xenoblade 3 again. Xenoblade from Xenocat. I don't know if there's any favoritism here or not.
I mean, there's only like 86% of the songs in the pool are Xeno something, I believe. That is a gross inflation of the actual number, by the way. But hey, it'll work. Don't worry about it.
Look, the only way that Xenocat's going to say anything against that is if she unmutes and tries to fix us on that. But as far as I'm aware, yes, that is 100% allowed, or 100% a proper amount of number. It is not way too high, because Xenogears, from what I've heard of harp renditions, has some fantastic music, to be completely honest.
Yeah, definitely really good music in that series. As there, are so many series with amazing music. It's very hard to pick, you know, video games with bad music. It's one of those things that it just kind of doesn't exist. Can you think of a lot of video games that are well known or well made that have bad music?
That's a good question. But speaking of things that don't exist, that poor Ogopogo just does not exist anymore and gets swung at swords at and sent on his way. So we're about to get the other wave right after this. But the question is, as you've asked chat, are there games with bad music? We have our wonderful art wizard Skelda saying, "Oh, possum." So I think Z may have a list or two.
Well, I threw in well made as well. So
Oh, that's
uh,
fair. That's fair.
there was that caveat there that yes, you can have games with awful music that exist that are out there. I could reference my own personal favorite song, but Scala Kitty would somehow find a way to have me removed from this booth right here, right now. So I won't do that. But we
Poison
have
stairs.
Cubs. Yes, you said it, not me. I can't be removed for that. Uh, we have Cubs heading to the moon. Going to give us our first peek at the Cave Bahamut, and we have an interesting development on Allie's side. We are now edgeless.
So I actually, again, the information that we were talking about when it comes to these weapons, I really, really like this because you have a nice little bit of your hybrid strats here. Edge will do some okay damage. Palom will do way more work than what an Edge will do right now. And Rosa is your insurance so that you have, as we know, it's the power couple of Cecil and Rosa. They will be able to handle any fight of Z as long as Rosa's roughly in the 16-ish 100 HP mark. She's not going to be getting slingshot XP, so she's going to be behind the curve a little bit. But we are almost at the double XP mark. We've got, what, an 8 key items? Yeah, about to get our 9th here from Allisele, so you're getting real close to the mark where Rosa we can get double XP, get her caught up, and get her to the point where she just doesn't really care.
Yeah, this is actually going to be the 10th key item, the hook for Allie. And as soon as she gets that hook, I would expect to see some sirens get popped on Allie's side. That'll get her to nuke to white on Rosa and Palom if she wants to even take it that far, and a ton of levels on the Cecil as well. So that's the type of situation where I think Allie's, well, got to get through this turtle first, though, which is being a little bit rude, the old jerk turtle that we refer to Kanatsu as. But meanwhile, Cubs has found Mylon and friends. That zombie dance party we had alluded to up on Ordeals has moved to Cave Bahamut, and I think we can call this Rave Bahamut now.
This is very true. Is this the Rave Cave from The Matrix?
You know, I can dig that, given that half of my name is from the Matrix series. Anyway.
Oh, what half?
Well played.
I was given access to your avatar for a very specific reason at one point or another, so I loved it, by the way. But yeah, that is no Oh My Body Skip. That is a Mylon who's knocked down. We have lots of EXP flowing through here, and we have ourselves yet another check knocked out, and we have Fusoya at full power, which is what we're really happy for. And that Rosa is going to be happy too.
Yeah, Artemis bow definitely going to be a slight upgrade from the crossbow. It's it's okay, just okay. And hey, there's some sirens for Cubs. This is one of the runner's choice favorites, if you will, for grind options. You have sirens, which are an item that will pull up the rare encounter in any area. There are 8 encounters in any given area. Some of them do duplicate, but there are 8 encounters on a 256, I don't know if it's a frame basis or encounter window or whatever it's based on. And basically, the siren will pull the 1 in 264. And this King Ryu fight with the 2 of them is the basically 264th encounter on the table. And Cubs was able to not only pull that with that siren item, he was also able to do what we call a nice 2 here on the King Ryu's, where he used an Ice 2 spell and was able to pull a double life glitch, which gave him not 1, but 3 credited kills on those gold dragons, which is going to be a huge influx of experience. Dathis, do you want to explain how that life glitch works?
The life glitch. A very fun classic glitch that some people may have discovered accidentally by tapping over the wrong in their vanilla runs, or just found out through free enterprise, because again, we get to learn about all the glitches here. The life glitch is what happens is when you normally use a life potion on your allies, you can sometimes see how they come back with more HP than they normally have. Vis-a-vis if you put a heroine robe on a level 1 Rydia, she can come back with 100 HP. What it does is it life revives you with your vitality times 5, I believe it is. But all enemies have a vitality stat of 0, and 0 times anything is, well, 0. So they come back, they're alive, and they get slain again, so you get credited for double the experience. The joys of Ice 2, though, is if you can get your Q up properly, while the cast is going off, you have one person able to use the item, and you have an item being used immediately afterwards. So, with proper timing, you get all that bonus experience, and you can have the best I've seen is 4 in 1. It is very, very hard to do, but usually you can get 2, 3 on a very good run.
Yep, absolutely, very well explained, and also worth noting on Cubs' side. We saw a Dark Knight Cecil still on the Lunar Dais there, which tells us one thing. Cubs is still yet to do ordeals.
Yep.
Now we know it's just a pass. But Cubs doesn't necessarily know that. He probably wishes he had that pass or knew that, or, had checked for that Cecil 10 years ago, give or take, because that would have dramatically shifted how he ran this seed. With any sort of flag set that has T Wildish on, which are what our treasure settings are on this particular flag set, Cecil is a tour de force. And it'll be interesting to see what Cubs thinks, at the end of the seed, not having access to that Cecil now being up on the moon. He's probably going to be just fine, but probably wishes in the back of his mind he had that Cecil.
Oh yeah, in hindsight, being 2020 and knowing where everything is within these seeds, vis-a-vis knowing that there is in fact a crystal sword and there is a Cecil, generally people would beeline to try and find that Cecil as quick as possible, because again, you're looking at getting a really high damage dealer as early as possible. The only other thing that you would love would be on a 5-player seed would be having access to all 5 mages and then going and doing a D-machine grind so you can get like 3 casters of new, 2 casters of white, kind of going about your day. But with what we have here, kind of very happy with the different levels of power that you have. And we have, again, speaking of power, we have a fun little enemy here within Pale Dim, the last of our lunar bosses, still actually up here on the moon.
Yeah, Cubsrule21, as some of our community members have started calling Pale Dim, a fantastic boss that kind of looks like a smiley face, kind of looks like a weird tiny-armed dragon. Lots of ways to describe Pale Dim, but Pale Dim is basically a dragon that punches, counters punches with slows, counters summons with quakes. Is not going to put up much of a fight here, though. Can't really break through the adamant armor, and is just going to kind of fall over to the party. So Cub's going to get this objective on the board as well, which I believe means that all we have left is the Baron key for our runners, if I'm not mistaken, which I probably am. But I think it's just the Baron key left that our runners need.
Yeah, that is the last key item it seems we're looking for. A Baron and Tower key. So we're missing 2 keys so we can unlock the finish of this seed and get our runners through. But they are doing... that is a little bit of memeing there from Cubs, a little bit of a duding of his own. Big shout outs to our community who love to throw out the memes wherever we possibly can. But yeah, we have definitely looking for the one big part of the seed being the 2 keys that we need. There's a good shot that they could be in one location. Probably not, but they could both be in one boss area.
Well, I mean, what I'm hoping for at this point is that there's some sort of very funny chain or a really nasty boss. I'm trying to think of what's left that would be really nasty, but like a nasty boss at the Masa altar holding one, and maybe like the Luca key gates the other. Something to that effect, so we get more content that way. Because I am a big enjoyer of content.
Content in my randomizer runs, not possible. But yeah, Cubs going for the spot that has the highest chance of possibly having one of our last two key items, being here in the D-Lunar room, which is the Ribbon Altar, which has two different shots, and it is one spicy noodle throwing waves and casting ice twos. You're very happy to see this here. Could almost even throw on a Thunderclaw. Probably do roughly about the same damage, if not a little bit more. But yeah, we got some Bacchus Wines coming up. We got some lit spells going out. We've got, Quake instead. My mistake. But yeah, we got damage upon damage upon damage going on both sides.
Yeah, lots of damage coming out on the Leviathan from Cubs. This is a pretty harmless fight, all things considered. The Ice 2s here are going to do a moderate amount of damage, but then we have just Cecil wailing away on Allie's side, getting a ton of XP for the party. So Allie opting to go with Gold Dragons as well, so both runners going the Gold Dragon route. Cubs only took it partway on his grind. We'll see if Allie goes partway as well, or also goes all the way to Nuke and White. So it'll be very interesting to see how far our runners take the grinds here.
With Allie having access to that pass, I don't foresee the reason why we couldn't just do a partial grind, go get the last fights that we need, go get that last bit of a grind, exit out, and then take the path of the moon all the way down. Because again, it's really interesting the fact that there are some spots that are just, it's faster to leave the moon, take the cutscene, and go through the pass door than it is to actually finish the walk of the moon. It is that long. You know what? It is not. It's not a key item, but I'll 100% take that Avenger for Cecil.
Yeah, but not for Cubs, because no Cecil.
Ooh, I just realized that that's going to be a nice yeetable item, unfortunately.
Yeah, for Allie, that'll be a wonderful get. The Avenger, meaning no Bacchus needed for that Crystal Sword Cecil. Speaking of things a Mute Knife is extremely good against, Magus Sisters. They are not going to be long for this or any world if that Mute Knife is equipped to Edge.
I think he's still rocking the Mura and the Full Moons, but still, regardless, as you said, the damage disparity is not much by comparison to the two. It's gonna be good hits around, and yeah, the Quake, probably another one of those will make sure that these three sisters are completely gone. Two of the three sisters are gone, and make Cindy delay her turns. Well, one of them's gone.
Yeah, the only one that's actually dangerous is gone, and Rosa, that's a casual 6,000 damage. And
Rosa, it's okay, we promise.
Rosa is clearly angry at the sisters, and decided that they did not need to exist. And we have dueling fight completions here. Rosa learns White as well. That is her ultimate spell. And that is a better sword for Edge. So that is going to be Masamura Edge. That's not a vanilla pickup because that's the White Spear. But are we going to call that French vanilla for you?
I'll go that caramel macchiato with a shot of vanilla.
Okay. So close enough.
Exactly. There's a little bit of it. There's enough vanilla in there that you get that hit and you go, delicious. And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and looks like Cub's going to continue just devastating the bottom of the moon here. Again, no Cecil, but still making very quick work of these fights with the power of that Edge and the power of that Palom, casting some pretty beefy Quakes, and Rosa helping out as well in that Magus Sisters fight in particular. This is the spot that I'm always interested in. This Ogo Pogo spot in Vanilla, it punches super hard, the magic is really mean. But this is not going to pose too much of a problem for our runners. Phase 2 of this fight, should we have seen it without adamant armors, this is where Ruby would show up. The mage portion of this fight, with the spell power at this spot, would be absolutely devastating. However, we're really not going to see too much of this fight. Fu's going to nuke here, Edge is going to swing, Rose is going to swing, and Ruby's probably going to be gone at that point.
Yeah, he's gone,
Not
but we
even.
do not get the full element skip. We do, in fact, get to see the other half of it. We have ourselves our little turtle, who's going to probably be turned away in short order. Yeah, Edge gets another swing, and we're going to go to the last of the four. Val spinning in her tornado for being weak to, I don't know, everything at this point. Is that actually what it comes to? Like, I know each form has its own level of weakness, but Val is just literally weak to everything.
Yeah, she's weak to a lot of stuff, not actually everything. Because like, she's not weak to flying, she's not weak to ice. There's the Baron key though, so that is one of those 2 key items we needed. Tower key, the only one left now. But as far as that's concerned, that elements fight is one that is a little bit dubious as far as what the weaknesses are, because they don't traditionally match up to, well, anything. Ruby, while weak to ice, makes no sense that he's a mage. The Mylon Z portion, while is undead, is weak to fire but absorbs some weird things. The Val, as you stated, is weak to a lot of stuff, but she's not actually weak to anything in her vanilla form, so it's just odd. It's very odd.
Yeah, and it's just the one thing that's very interesting. As you said, like Rubicante becomes a mage type enemy, so mute weapons. It's really funny your first time going, oh, well, I'll just use this ice claw on him. Oh, I forgot I can't equip things differently. Well, I guess that mute dagger is going to go, why did that hit him so hard? And it's really hilarious the first time through, because you never think about that in the vanilla run. Like, when you go and fight them, you think, why would I throw a mute knife on my Edge after for all these other toys I found him? I just got double ninja swords. And yeah, it's just entertaining when you throw mage type weapons or mage type weaknesses onto him, and he just walks all over certain fights.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how all of the various weaknesses can be exploited by different weapons, different spells, and things like that. And for runners to be able to keep all that in mind for every fight is definitely an admirable thing for them to be able to handle, because there's a lot of it to keep in your mind at all times. So kudos to both Allie and Cubs for doing that. And hey, there's speaking of things that are very weak to certain items, that is Odin, who has a quad weakness to to thunder or lightning, however you want to phrase it. And Edge just dealt 9,000 damage. Oh, we can do the over 9,000 meme.
What one's that?
I don't know. I heard it one time. I think it was like a Digimon thing.
Oh, I absolutely love Digimon, especially when they come out of those little capsule things. It's very similar to another anime that I remember. It's what is it? It's the one with Suezo. Monster Rancher, that's it.
Jolly Ranchers. Oh, Monster Rancher, my bad. Now I'm hungry now. Oh, I'm always hungry. It's okay.
Hey, when are you not? Hey, we've kept you away from the buttons. Of course you're hungry.
I know, Xenocat's doing a great job. That was Artemis arrows, by the way, so Rosa can continue to go burr.
Yeah, Artemis bow, Artemis arrows here. I mean, we're all sorts of goodness up here. Whereas Rosa is going to go burr. Cecil currently is going burr. 4,000 or 5,000 damage per swing. Rosa's just like, I'll just tier 4. It's all good. We got this. Yeah, this is a preview of what Zeromus is going to be like.
Yeah, both runners are not going to have much difficulty throughout the rest of this seed, and that is kind of by design. That's how these Adamant Cup flags work, is that it is an accumulation of power until you get to a point where it's no longer a matter of can you get stronger, it's a matter of how efficiently can you defeat everything in your path. And we are now at the point for our runners where they are in the how do I most efficiently destroy everything, in my path. So that is that is where we're at in the seed, and that's why you see all of these bosses that could generally pose a problem to runners just being dispatched in very, very short order.
Yeah, and it's something that I always really enjoy and is a very good question for a lot of runners is especially when you do early D machines, it's okay, now you have this incredible power on your characters. Where are you going to go? How are you going to run the seed? Because just because you have this power doesn't mean it's going to save you time. There's a lot of places on the overworld where a 5,000 nuke will do you work, yeah, but a 3,000 or a 2,000 quake will do just as good. Like, HP pools are a thing in some areas.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if something like the element spot had been required in this on the Giant of Babel, where you might have 65,000 HP of something, and the question becomes, is it quicker to Zerk my party? Is it quicker to use spells? Lots of things like that. So it'd be very interesting to see the highest possible location HP-wise be required, but not to be in this seed. But we do have dolls here, and Edge should be able to one-shot these. Let's see if there are any items. That's a Zeus Rage, and that should get the job done here. And then a Virus probably to follow it up. But looks like those dolls have been dispatched by a single Zeus Rage, so well done by Cubs, making sure there are no attacks coming out from those dolls. They're just an example of how to efficiently dispatch what could be an otherwise awkward enemy.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, those dolls really easy to be defeated in pretty much any spot. You take the HP of that area, you divide it up amongst the different forms, and yeah, you're not looking at anything really scary. However, we do have yet another elemental archfiend that is currently sitting here on the Baron throne. Instead of the Leviathan, or sorry, the Kainazo, we have Rubicante, and one yeet, and there it goes. There's a crumble, and yeah, you'll love to see it.
Yeah, Edge did not skip leg day, that is for sure. Dispatched was the leg. We actually had dueling legs for a very short moment there on screen as Ali had the elements form, a leg showing up there. Everybody taking but 1 damage because of adamant armors. Yeah, goodbye. Speaking of goodbye, that was Edward, and yeah, no.
But we have a spoon. We can have a spoon word.
Yeah, we could have had a spoon word 40 minutes, an hour ago. I don't think we need a spoon word now, though. I think we're strong enough.
Spoon word is always required.
Okay, hear me out. Take him as an anchor. Let him have a spoon, but not anything else. And hey, there's a tower key. I believe that is the last required key item for Cubs.
That, in fact, is. And the only way this gets better is the fact that that is going to also give us the Luca key. Cubs doesn't know that, but that's where the Luca key is hiding behind that. I'm pretty sure Odin could have it, and that's the only other aspect of where it could be. But this is shaping up to be a 17 out of 17 seed.
Yeah, with the Odin spot required because the Baron double was on the table, and with the tower key required, we are guaranteed to see the Luca key show up. So this is going to be a 17 out of 17 for both runners, an unavoidable one, in fact. Cubs with a little bit of a lead right now, but both runners putting on a great showcase for us. On different ways to approach a seed. Cubs notably did fade Mount Ordeals, which is going to mean he has to walk the lunar subterrane a second time. So that is going to give a little bit of time back to Allisele. Not sure it's going to be enough for her to catch up, but this one is going to be a lot closer than it looks right now from a race perspective, because of that pass that Ali has from Ordeals that Cubs does not.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is a couple of minutes here and there, it's going to be very interesting to see how close it is. That is the only, quote, problem that we have here as Rosa running out of MP, which, again, but I think we have more than enough elsewhere that it's just this Odin is still not going to be anything of a threat.
I am a little bit concerned about this Antetsuken that's about to come out. Everyone but Cecil is going to go down here, I believe. Oh, nope, that did way less than I thought. Okay, well, neat.
Oh, I'm scared of the Zentatsuken. Why? We have enough armor where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think I'm used to not having adamant armors where things are scary.
And that's the big thing. It's throughout so many tournaments and throughout so many different high tier plays, it's always no adamants, no adamants, no adamants, and occasionally food taking a nap and not being available. But it's really, really interesting to have had a full on tournament with this flag actually on, where you see a pink tail and you go, that's something nice and spicy, and you know exactly what it is, as opposed to that could be anything. It could even be a rock. You know how much I wanted a Zeus rage out of a pink tail?
Yeah, I don't think you can ever get a Zeus rage out of a pigtail, but I definitely get your point on that there are some very questionable
low
things
tier
that
J
can show
item.
up. Yeah. But yeah, Pigtail's always going to give a tier 7 or tier 8 item, which is kind of nice if it doesn't give an adamant armor. So Pigtail's kind of the one thing that's insulated from all the other shenanigans of getting awful items. But speaking of things, oh man, so this Mylon Z, still going to be one shot on Cubs' side, but that Mylon Z is going to take like 8,550 damage times like 10 on Allie's side. It's going to be absolutely atrocious, the level of devastation that Mylon's going to take, and it's a shame we can only see 4 numbers and not potentially 5, because that would do so much damage.
Oh yeah, I'd be really curious to see. That's a flag I would love to be able to have turned on, like actual damage numbers, where you could see that, because there's the comments of every once in a while talking like, oh, if you had a level 1 Rydia take specific spells at one location, she actually eats like 36,000 or 360,000 damage. And I'm like, how do you figure this math out? First of all, like I know math enough in the first place, but that's when you go a little overkill on learning it.
Well, speaking of math, I got a simple one for you, Dathis. If you have 7 objectives that are required, and you complete 7 objectives, how many objectives do you have to complete after that?
One more. At least one more.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Now you got me confused. I thought 7 minus 7 was 0. Okay, one more. Wait, what's Cubs got to do that's left?
Absolutely nothing besides run up and go all the way that long walk through the lunar subterranean.
So Cubs, our first runner officially in go mode, has completed all 7 of his objectives, gets his 17th key item. So get your 17 out of 17s in chat if you have them. Something that we got to see a whole lot of in the Adamant Cup, and with these flags, of course, being a throwback to that, no surprise, we got a 17 out of 17 tonight. We do have a question from chat. Do we get a swag walk? We may very well get a swag walk from Cubs. I would love to see it. That would be a whole lot of territory to cover. I think it would be very interesting to see it happen.
Yeah, with the amount of power that's on his side, I 100% understand. I could just see him just tearing right on down and going absolutely right through. It's very much just what you need to get through here. You have the levels that you've got on your team, like everyone's 50 plus. There's no fear of dying even to a full power. I think the only person who dies to a full power 9 roll, or was it 8 roll Bing Bang, is that Palom. Everyone else has no fear of death.
Yeah, it looks like Cubs may not be 100% satisfied, though, with his team. Giving back a little bit of time here to Allie, who is only going to have the tower key remaining after clearing out all of Baron Castle here. And Allie did take the efficiency play here of doing the basement while going through and taking out the Baron throne as well. And I guess I guess Allie does still have the harp to do. I forgot about that. You see, this is a key item that is not even in my scope at any point in time.
Yeah, this was, and again, this is why sometimes you do want to make sure you do things efficiently and you can do keyless tower. But again, tower being 100% required, one way or the other, you would have to go through and you would have to do both portions. More beneficial to do it this way, but and then you just go down, you knock out the entire tower, come back up, as opposed to multiple up and downs.
Yeah, and looks like on Cubs' side, this is going to be the last time he goes up and down into the lunar subterrane, as he is making his descent into the lunar core, and we should be but a short bit away from seeing the special artwork at the end of the seed, courtesy of the one and only Scala Kitty, the resident free enterprise art director, along with so many other wonderful talents that she has.
Yeah, and it's honestly some of my favorite parts. You see the different ways that Scala has done different video games, honestly, and even slowly starting to push the palette that Z said, "Oh, well, I don't think I can do anything better than this," and then proves themselves wrong again and again and again, like doing different like 3D sprites or filling up the entire thing with different ones, or just lovely little memes such as do you want to accept your cookies while beating Zeromas? And we're all a fan of cookies here.
And not to mention as well, while not necessarily directly related to this run, Scala also put together a fantastic Haven run for this very marathon as well, that was run yesterday. So that was a fantastic watch in addition. So great work on the art side and the marathon side in general by our wonderful resident, I guess, gamer extraordinaire, Scala Kitty. But enough about the other members of our community who are fantastic. We have Cubs making that final descent into the lunar core, and Dathis, I think that means we have a little bit of a meme we have to do here. Mainly that chat, I think I saw some flags earlier, but a little delinquent now. What are all these Z's in chat? I mean, it is not even 7 o'clock my time yet. What's going on here?
Well, it is almost 10 o'clock Eastern Standard right now, so I can understand some people being a little sleepy, but the actual answer is the fact that Zeromus has one spot and one spot only we put him. So we don't randomize his location. However, we do randomize what he's dressed up as. So what we are currently doing is going to see whose butt we're going to kick for Questing for the Glory 5.
And is it cute? And does it have a hat?
No questions. Something butt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do have many questions that we like to ask, but the good old standby is whose butt and what are we going to be cosplaying, and if we can recognize it immediately. And I am very excited to see what's going to happen once we have this crystal thrown by Fusoya.
I like High Spirits saying, I hope it's the audio issues, but that would be a good one so we can kick it.
No more audio issues, ever.
Well, we have a shout out to Bikmas. Bikmas was a wonderful one. And this is Venus.
Not even Venus Miss, just Venus. That's interesting. As Scala saying, special hand-colored version of Venus from Final Fantasy Legend 2, which is in fact actually the game that is going to be coming up after Free Enterprise is done.
Yeah, definitely an excellent sprite there, and a cool shout to the next game that's following in line. So that is fantastic to go ahead and do that, to have it ordered from one game to the next, basically. So that's fantastic.
And speaking of fantastic, we have the weapons being thrown, Edge doing lots of damage here, going to be darting out everything possible. And I actually foresee maybe one more dart, and then we're going to have the finish of her flex strats with all the whites and all the nukes being reflected back and forth.
Yeah, so to kind of go over what exactly is happening in this Zeromus fight, Zeromus has 110,000 HP, somewhere around there, but it's split into two phases. So if you do direct damage on the first phase beyond the 45,000 HP mark, it will tip into the second phase and refill 65,000 health. So what you do basically is you stop dealing direct damage at about the 42,000 HP mark, and then you reflect damage to go ahead and secure the victory over Zeromus, effectively skipping half of the fight. This was patched out in, I think, like the Pixel Remaster, I believe, and some other things. But I think also Cub's going to do a little bit of swag here and going to get the kill with a darted spoon if this reflected nuke doesn't kill. So I think he's trying to set up a dart kill here. And he is waiting for Rosa to get her white cast off. I think we are going to see a second Big Bang here, because he is trying to meme a little bit. So there's that Big Bang. As long as Edge survives, though, we're going to be fine here, and Cubs will be through. So with Adamant armors, yeah, that's going to be just fine. Spoon comes out. This should be the killing shot. And Zeromus is defeated. That is time for Cubs. So very well run by Cubs. GG to him. Fantastically executed at the end there and all the way through.
Again, big GG's to him. Venus defeated and showing off one of our tried and true strategies that a lot of runners love to show off. Basic reflex strats with a little bit of touch of hybrid, but mostly mages doing all the work here. As you said, cutting the HP you have to go through in half. It's even more entertaining. I still think some of my favorite variations of it are when you have berserkers going and you know exactly when to stop them, and either A, literally cast stop on them, or B, find other ways to stop their damage and then just reflect the last bit of damage back. It's very chef's kiss when you see some of these strategies shown off the way they are. And there's a lot of different ways to defeat Zeromus too, not just throw damage at it until it's gone, which is my favorite way.
Well, I thought your favorite way was just drain Venger and take a nap.
And that's still throwing damage at it until it goes away. I just heal at the same time.
Sit there with a nice beverage, adult or otherwise, and just watch the HP crumble away while yours is healed. And you just kind of sit back, relax, talk to chat, and carry on.
Absolutely, and I'm not going to lie to you. There have been times where I've wanted to jump into the restream room while dealing Drain Venger and just start talking about the scenes. Like, oh yeah, no, we're done here. It's all good.
But we are going to get a second rendition of that wonderful tune from Xenocat. Ali coming up on the end of Cave Magnus here, which I do believe is her 7th objective as well. So going to be going through and getting us a little bit more music, which I know that everybody loves. Xenocat especially, she did a great job on this song. And then we'll go right from music, basically right to Zeromus, because Ali also has the pass, which will allow her to shortcut heading into the Zeromus fight to fight what I believe is going to be Venus as well. I don't know if it's 2 custom sprites or just 1, but I think it is just Venus for both runners.
I prefer going to the destination of Mars when it comes to playing Oh wait, hold on, wrong game. But yeah, it is the nice thing. There are times where we do see both runners with the same seed, but different views of it. So we have different sprites. But what I will do instead, we will get the full rendition of the song. So I will definitely be a little quiet while DJ Spoony B plays a little bit more Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
All right, and that was the second rendition of that fantastic tune. Well, I could, if I could remember what the name of the song was that we just saw, that would be fantastic. One step away. I can't remember. I'm terrible at this.
A step away, thanks
A step
to
away.
both Fire Blizzard and Xenocat, who remind us and keep us honest here up in the booth.
Someone has to, because I might be a possum, but I got the memory of a goldfish. Gosh darn it. But we have
What were
Allie
we talking
completing
about?
that harp. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, squirrel. Um, so the thing that Allie gets to do here, which is really cool, is she's going to go through and get to Zeromus in a different way. So this is kind of shortcutting things. She's just going to save outside of Troya here and head straight on in. Where there was a pub or a club, whatever you want to call it, in the vanilla game, this has been kind of retrofitted to now have a shortcut to Zeromus. So Allie going to take this shortcut with the pass that she got from Mount Ordeals and going to head on up, go through and go fight that Venus, and going to see a little bit of a different strategy here. I believe. I think Allie is going to go the route of Cecil Go Burr. Maybe with some nukes thrown in from Palom, but I think we're going to see a different strategy here from Allie.
Indeed, and I've definitely see the power couple with a little bit of nuke backup at this one, but this is definitely going to be, you're going to watch the damage actually see. You're going to see how good Crystal Sword Adamant Armor Cecil can be when he is literally unleashed. The only problem is we're not going to hear that wonderful Holy Sword swoosh swoosh sound, because I've definitely seen the Avenger being put on, and that's the only downfall I think of the Avenger, in my personal opinion.
I mean, gigantic air quote downside.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, big air quotes. But it's one of those, like, you just want to hear the second best sound in all of Final Fantasy IV. Just like hear the Holy Sword sound.
Yeah, that very iconic, at least for us, runners of this game a fair amount. That iconic crunch crunch that we are just very familiar with.
And I've been asked, what is the best sound? In fact, the best sound is No, it's actually
Well
the pan bonk. I'm not going to incur the wrath here, but the pan bonk is fantastic.
Yeah, I actually think my favorite, and I know Dathis, you know somebody who detests this sound, but my favorite sound is actually the blue 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 from Plague, casting count on everybody. I adore that sound. I know most people hate it.
No, I can get behind the count sound. It's a nice sound for what it is. I honestly, one of the ones that's very interesting to hear is haste. We don't hear it very often, or fast. Sorry, when we're not fighting a big giant eye. But fast is easily one of my favorite sounds. Probably in my top 10.
Yeah, the fast sound, the Hermes boots, or Hermes sandals. Yeah, that sound is a very good one too.
Chad going on about the stop sound or the hourglass 2 sounds. Yep, those are all good ones too.
Yeah, pretty much any of the time modifiers, if you will, are very good. Meanwhile, speaking of time modifiers, the time modifier that we're seeing on Ali's side is every time Cecil hits Venus, the fight gets shortened. Um,
Yeah, that is a
Also,
7,000 swing we just saw, by the way.
was that an unnerved Big Bang that just did 1100 to everybody? Is that just Adamant Armor is doing Adamant Armor things?
Adamant Armor's doing Adamant Armor's things, my friend. Magic defense is a heck of a thing.
You gotta love it. So one of the cool things that happens here is Cecil actually had Black Hole cast when it was on the whole party, but with an Avenger on, the issue is until you parry back to Cecil's turn, he's not going to swing. So Ali's going to eventually have to parry back to Cecil's turn for his Avenger to reactivate.
Oh,
So it's one of those weird interactions with Black Hole and Avenger that, yeah, we're. I think now by having Palom take that action, Cecil is back in the queue. I would have loved to see Stardust Rod Palom there get the kill shot,
oh,
but
that'd be
it's
so good.
there. It is. Cecil did most of the work there. You gotta love that fun little Avenger bit at the end. But that is time for Allisele. Both runners doing a great job getting through this seed, despite some early tech issues that we had that might have rattled them. They are done, and GG's to both, and very well run. Two very different ways through that seed.
Yeah, again, big GG's to them. They've done great work. Again, be sure those of you who are in chat to follow the two of them. They do great showings. They stream here and there. And yeah, they are absolutely fantastic. You can find Allisele at twitch.tv/Allisele and Cubs at twitch.tv/Cubsrule21. Again, they are fantastic, and I want to thank them for letting us come on and do some wonderful talking while they got to show off a fantastic randomizer that I know we love.
Yeah, and of course, thank you so much behind the scenes to Xenocat doing a fantastic job with the music, Scala Kitty doing a fantastic job with the Zeromus sprite, and of course, thank you Dathis for keeping me in line up here. Thank you Cubs and Ali for doing a wonderful job on the run, and of course, thank you to RPG Limit Break for putting on the wonderful marathon, Questing for Glory 5. Definitely looking forward to seeing the fantastic runs that are coming up, including Final Fantasy Legend 2, which that Venus, don't think this will be the last time you see Venus, based on what my understanding of that run is.
You know what? I'm excited to see a little bit more of Venus. We go from here to a different style of seeing it, but yeah, that is going to be, again, big shout outs to you as well, Possum, for joining me in the booth. You are a fantastic wealth of knowledge, and it is great to be able to plumb those depths while having some fun up here with you.
Yeah, thank you for for again keeping me honest up here, and of course adding the humor and the color to the cast. Definitely always fun to do this with you, and always happy to provide the tech talk. So thank you again, everybody, with RPG Limit Break, and y'all have a fantastic rest of your day, your night, your evening, or whatever time of day it is for you.